7 in the morning, and your hand is already reaching for the cup before your brain has even fully woken up. The kitchen is quiet. The kettle hasn't even finished yet, and somehow your body already knows exactly where this is going. You call it energy, but caffeine doesn't give your body new energy in the way food does. It changes how awake and alert you feel. It does that in a stranger way than most people realize. It temporarily changes the way your brain experiences one of its own signals. A signal that's been quietly building since the moment you woke up. And when you suddenly take caffeine away, that signal doesn't disappear. Your brain finally has to hear it again. So let's follow what happens inside your body from your last cup onward. To understand this, you first have to meet a molecule that's been at work in your brain long before your first sip, adenosine. As your brain stays active through the day, adenosine slowly accumulates, and that buildup contributes to something scientists call sleep pressure, the growing internal push toward rest the longer you've been awake. Adenosine does this by attaching to receptors in your brain. Think of those receptors as doorbells, and adenosine as a finger pressing them. The more doorbells that get pressed, the more that pressure to rest builds. It's not a switch flipping on and off. It's more like a dimmer slowly turning up throughout the day, whether you're paying attention to it or not. By the time caffeine enters the picture most mornings, that pressure has usually already been quietly building for hours. Here's the part almost nobody realizes. Caffeine doesn't remove adenosine, and it doesn't switch off that pressure. It competes with it. Caffeine happens to be shaped closely enough to adenosine that it can occupy those same doorbell-shaped receptors, close enough to fit the lock, without actually turning the key. When it does, it doesn't ring anything. It just sits there, blocking adenosine from producing its usual effect at that receptor. The tiredness signal is still building in the background, exactly as it was. You just aren't hearing the doorbell. If you only drank caffeine occasionally, that would be the whole story. But most regular drinkers don't. They do this daily, sometimes several times a day for years. Faced with doorbells that keep getting covered, your brain responds in a logical way. It can increase the availability or sensitivity of adenosine signaling. This is a well-documented adaptation, and it's part of what tolerance actually is at a biological level. Your nervous system adjusting to a pattern it now expects every day. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's adapting to the environment you've created for it. So here's what happens when the caffeine disappears. Those adaptations don't disappear overnight. The adenosine signal that's been quietly muted suddenly has more opportunity to act. Changes in cerebral blood vessel behavior are also thought to contribute to the specific kind of headache many people describe during this period. It's a detail worth knowing, without needing to turn this into a lecture on vascular physiology. Withdrawal like this is common enough to be recognized as a real documented phenomenon, though not everyone experiences it, and how strongly it shows up varies considerably from person to person. For many people, this isn't a slow build. It follows a fairly predictable timeline. 12-24 hours. Withdrawal begins during the first several hours. Caffeine levels in your body are gradually falling. For some people, withdrawal symptoms can begin within about 12 to 24 hours. The earliest wave of that muted adenosine signal getting through, alongside the blood vessel changes we just covered. 24-48 hours peak. Symptoms often become most noticeable. Headache, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, sometimes a low mood that feels oddly disconnected from anything else going on. For most people, this window is the hardest part. Days 3 to 7. Symptoms fade then. For most people, the symptoms gradually fade over the following days. Behind the scenes, your nervous system is gradually readjusting the changes it made during regular caffeine use, recalibrating back toward a baseline that doesn't depend on caffeine to function, with many cases resolving within roughly a week. Not everyone experiences this the same way. Some barely notice it. Others feel it for the better part of a week, and the difference usually isn't willpower. It's biology running slightly differently from one person to the next. But why does your friend feel completely fine after a 5 p.m. espresso, while one sip anywhere near evening ruins your entire night of sleep? The answer isn't willpower. It's written into your liver. A liver enzyme called CYP1A2 is largely responsible for metabolizing caffeine, and both genetics and lifestyle factors influence how quickly or slowly that enzyme works. The result is that the exact same cup of coffee can have a meaningfully different biological half-life in two different people. That's an important distinction worth making clearly. How quickly caffeine leaves your bloodstream isn't the same as how long you feel its effects. Caffeine's half-life varies substantially between people, which means meaningful amounts can still be circulating long after the noticeable jolt has faded. Dose matters here too, and so does frequency. Someone drinking 1 cup a day and someone drinking 4 are, biologically speaking, not really running the same experiment. Genetics decides part of the story. Habit decides the rest. Here's an important clarification worth making directly, because these two words get used interchangeably far too often. Your brain adapting to regular caffeine, adjusting its baseline signaling, that's physical dependence. It is not automatically the same thing as addiction, which involves a different, more complex pattern of compulsive use despite harm. Most regular coffee drinkers experiencing withdrawal are dependent in a straightforward biological sense, not addicted in the clinical sense of the word. It's a distinction worth holding on to, especially with how loosely both words tend to get thrown around. So what actually happens once withdrawal passes? Weeks. Nervous system readjusts here. It's worth being careful rather than dramatic. Some people notice their energy feels steadier once their signaling settles back down without the familiar rise and crash. Others notice comparatively little dramatic difference at all. The more consistent change isn't necessarily more energy showing up. It may simply be a clearer sense of when you're actually tired, now that the signal isn't being muted quite as heavily as it was before. None of this means caffeine is something to fear or avoid. For many healthy adults, moderate daily caffeine intake fits comfortably within a healthy lifestyle, and there's no requirement to quit simply because it's a habit, especially if you drink it regularly, sleep well, and feel fine. But if you find you depend on it just to feel functional, understanding this biology tells you something real about what your brain has quietly adapted to over time. If you do decide to cut back, gradual reduction tends to be gentler on this whole system than stopping all at once, giving your brain more time to adjust before the underlying signal has to speak up on its own. You don't have to make the transition harsher than it needs to be. Slower is simply kinder to the same system we just spent this entire video getting to know. Tomorrow morning, when your hand reaches for that cup again, you'll know exactly what it's actually doing. Not creating energy, not erasing tiredness, just covering a signal your brain has been sending you all morning. And if you ever do take the cup away, that signal doesn't disappear. For a few days it may get louder. Then, quietly, your brain begins learning how to listen to it differently again. The cup was never really the whole story. Your brain was. So, after learning what's actually happening in that cup, do you think your energy has been real all along? Or borrowed?